One.
It's on a 0-hour contract at the moment, so they just need a couple.
Right, I don't have to mute myself now. Right, good morning everybody, and welcome to this meeting of Hampshire Fire and Rescue Authority. This meeting is being held remotely and members are in attendance via video conference. The meeting is being live streamed on the authority's website and will also be available for repeated viewing. Those participating in the meeting are consenting to being recorded and use of those images for broadcast purposes. I will begin by naming the members who are in attendance for the public record. First of all, myself, Councillor Chris Carter, the chairman of the meeting, Councillor Ros Chad, the vice chairman, Councillor Jason Fazakerley, Councillor Jonathan Glenn, Councillor Jeff Hockley, Councillor Sharon Mintoff, Councillor Roger Price, Councillor David Simpson and Councillor Iridian Vaughan. During the meeting, if a member wishes to speak, they will indicate this to me by using the raise your hand function as the primary method. In the event that function is unavailable to you, the secondary method is to use the meeting chat function and type RTS request to speak. All decisions will be reached through a vote conducted by calling out abstain, against or for, with a pause for obtaining so members can speak up at the relevant time. The outcome of the vote will be confirmed by Katie Sherwood, the Democratic and Member Services Officer, before moving on to the next item on the agenda. I would like to remind members that the Constitution's standing orders will apply, so please keep your microphones muted unless you've been called to speak. And you may be visible on the screen to the public and to members, even when you are not speaking. Right, thank you for that. Now, moving to the agenda, item 1 is apologies. I have apologies from Councillor Fairhurst. I spoke to her early this morning and she's en route back from holiday. She did say that she would try and join us if possible, but I don't think that has been possible. So I will ask that her apologies be recorded. I also have apologies from Councillor Dave Stewart, the leader of Isle of Wight Council, and Dave will be joining us for the Shadow Board meeting held later today. I have further apologies from the PCC and indeed his representative, who is not available to attend. Next item on the agenda is declarations of interest, which I will read for the benefit of public listening. This is to enable members to disclose to the meeting any disclosable pecuniary interest they may have in any matter on the agenda for the meeting, where that interest is not already entered in the authority's register of interests, and any other pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest in any such matter that members may wish to disclose. Members, if anything comes up during the meeting that you consider to be a relevant matter that you should disclose, please indicate at that time. Right, item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of July this year. Turning to those, page 1, page 2 and page 3 of the minutes. They're pages 3, 4 and 5 on your agenda. Are you content that that is a true record of the meeting held on that day?
Yeah, content.
Good, thank you for that. Any matters arising from those minutes? No? No, thank you. Item 4 is deputations. We have none. Item 5, Chairman's announcements. Just a few matters to bring to your attention. You will recall, due to the significant impact that COVID-19 has had on our communities, whole-time firefighter recruitment had been extended to ensure every prospective candidate had the opportunity to get as much support as they needed. Whole-time firefighter recruitment is now open and will close at midnight tomorrow. That is the 25th of September. Application sifting will take place between tomorrow and October. Do we have a date for October?
No.
We don't. Followed by written and functional tests. Interviews will be held during the weeks commencing 3rd of November, 7th of December, and 14th of December. The service is committed to a fair and transparent recruitment process, which will incorporate our commitment to ensuring we give unprecedented groups the opportunity to apply in line with our positive action statement. Chief Officer, do you wish to add to that?
Thank you, Chairman. And members, just to bring up to speed, as the Chairman said, the current recruitment campaign for whole-time firefighters does close tomorrow, the 23rd. And we have had enormous interest in this, as we tend to get enormous interest in firefighting roles. But as you all know, we are very, very focused on creating the most diverse and inclusive workforce for the future for Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. I'm thrilled to say that the team have done such an amazing job at connecting with parts of our society that we wouldn't normally attract, and we've had some good interest from those angles. We've used different channels this time, including Facebook Live and other such mechanisms, and we've had really, really impressive interest. 16,000 contributions in the last round of Facebook Live broadcasts, which involved our firefighters talking to people from our general community, asking about the experience of being a firefighter and the training required. So a real shout out to Molly and her team for the work they've done in a really broad recruitment campaign. Obviously now the next steps will see those come to fruition and look to attract the very best candidates to become firefighters for Hampshire and Isle of Wight into the future. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you for that update. You quite rightly said the closing date was 23rd. I don't know why I said 25th just now, but anyway, it's the 23rd. COVID-19 inspection update. As you will recall, HMIC FRS is undertaking an inspection of the response to the COVID-19 pandemic of the fire and rescue sector in England, confirmed by Sir Tom Windsor in his letter of the 5th of August this year, following the commission from the Home Secretary. These inspections are entirely virtual, and various information has been provided to the inspectorate ahead of the inspection, including a self-assessment survey, data and document returns, and a staff survey that closed on 9th of September. Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service and the Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue Service will be jointly inspected on the week commencing 26th of October. HMSI MacPar will be meeting with myself and Councillor Dave Stewart during the inspection to gain an insight into the Fire Authority and members' experiences, during the COVID-19 period to date. Shantha, are you with us? Shantha, do you want to add anything to that?
Good morning, Chairman. Thank you very much for the opportunity to comment. Morning, members. Absolutely. We are very much looking forward to the inspectorate coming in and looking at both of the services and our response. It's a great opportunity for us to continue to demonstrate our value for money, but also to use it as a learning opportunity. What's also important to note is that the outcome of this particular inspection for ourselves and for all other English fire and rescue services will not be a graded judgment like the round one inspections, simply because the experience of each fire and rescue service in the COVID response will be so different in terms of the activities they're involved with. Instead, it's going to be a really good, independent, scrutinising view of what we've done, and also an opportunity for us to learn from the great things we've done and also other things to improve. So very much looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shantha. Moving on, consultations. The authority has received a number of consultations recently and are very much interested in being able to shape the future of the fire sector environment. Members have already seen and provided input into the assaults on emergency workers and the PCC review consultation. Just yesterday, we discussed the fire safety consultations at a private APAC meeting. And just briefly mentioning that, I understand that, well, not all of us were present, and I also understand that there were time constraints yesterday, and the discussion, if there'd been time, the discussion would have liked to have gone on further. So I hope that we can come back to that issue, perhaps at our away day or some other event that we're holding fairly soon. The opportunity to add value to consultations and provide our views is welcomed by the authority, and we look forward to seeing the outcome of the consultations when published. Just mentioning that to you all, I do receive indications of these consultations as your chairman, and I received one just very recently, which was headed up Grenfell Tower Inquiry Anniversary Progress Event, and it was a quiz. Well, that was in the email, which seemed slightly unusual. It all related to operational matters, and the final question related to smokers. This was operational, as I have indicated, so it has been dealt with by the chief officer, and a response has been sent, and I'll invite you to comment further.
Thank you, Chairman. Members, for your awareness, you'll appreciate, I'm sure, the emphasis and potentially the politics involved in the work being done behind the scenes to learn and create an improved future and after the horrendous event of the Grenfell Tower fire. So over the last couple of years, the sector and the government were working to improve things. Now, what we have received recently is a letter making a grant to Hampshire Fire and Rescue Authority, and part of those conditions for the grant are some of the requirements coming out of phase 1 of the inquiry and the Hackett review. So the idea of starting to put those improvements in place, but recognising that there will be a demand on Fire and Rescue Authority's finances for doing so. So Hampshire Fire Authority and indeed the Isle of Wight Fire Authority have received a small grant to assist that. But it comes with conditions, and those conditions involve the use of smoke hoods for evacuating in high-rise buildings, and some other elements which you'll know we're getting on with and achieving. So the quiz that came out from the Fire Strategy and Reform Unit was perhaps, a poorly named piece of questioning, but what they were after was to know whether the Fire Authority was investing the money in smoke hoods or other things, or not buying smoke hoods. So a very operational decision-making process they were asking about, but the grant, of course, comes to the fire authority. The way that our scheme of delegation works is you delegate the operational responsibility of the service to me and my team, and we make those decisions on your behalf through the delegated powers. So I have responded to that questionnaire. We do intend to buy smoke hoods to help with our overall strategy. But what we'll do is we'll create some time at a future briefing session to make sure you understand the context of that operational the tactics, building right from the prevention and protection aspects of building safety, right through to our firefighting tactics and how they all interrelate. It's very, very important that we connect the two things together. We're all a little confused about how government positions the grant letter to ensure we buy smoke hoods. It's a very tactical and operational decision, but government has decided we must have these hoods. But nonetheless, we're on that route, and we'll continue with that progress. The money's welcome, of course, to help us put in place the recommendations of the inquiry so far. But this is a very tactical matter, which we have responded to in the questionnaire. So we'll update you further as time goes on. I think there's a hand up, Chairman.
John, Councillor Glenn, you wanted to comment?
Yes, it was just because Grenfell was mentioned. I'd like to draw all the members' attention to the latest corporate communication that's come out. The last item deals with the Grenfell Tower installation being sold at almost 50% discount. I won't go into detail on the paragraph, but I think we should all have a look at it. Very interesting reading. This is information coming out from the inquiry. That's it, Chair.
Thank you, Jonathan. Where's Rod? Councillor Price, did you want to say something at this stage?
No, I mean, all I would say about the fire hoods is that I'm sure Neil will agree with me, is that when I was on holiday in China last year, is that the hotel I was staying in actually had fire hoods in each of the rooms. And I think I did take photographs of them and the packaging that they were in and how to put them on and what to do, etc. And I think I did share that with Neil at the time. So it'd be interesting to see it's coming here as well. They looked very good.
Right. Thank you for that, Roger. So that completes my announcement. So we move to item 6 on your agenda, which is member development. I haven't got anything further to add other than to say that this Friday I will be apologies for a Hampshire County Council meeting because it is there is a virtual meeting of the Fire Commission, and I think certainly at this very important time I need to be present at that meeting, although I'm yet to receive the agenda. Councillor Price, Roger, you're indicating you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I was going to mention about the Fire Commission on Friday. I think the agenda has actually came out last Friday.
Okay.
I've got it here. The other thing I was going to mention was about the SARB meeting, which is the pensions meeting, which I sit on nationally. There's been a lot of discussions about the firefighters' pensions and going on. One of the things which we have done, and that's the elected members that are on the advisory board, is we've had two meetings which we've been looking at how the different options can affect the fire authorities in cost and administration and what have you. And that's very much an ongoing situation. And there was a scheme advisory board meeting a week ago, and rather than going to the details here, which I will be reporting them to the pensions committee meeting in, I think, about a week, 10 days time. So there's an awful lot going on in the pensions world. Thank you.
Fine, thank you. Now I think I've got Councillor Chad.
Thank you, Chairman. It's just to let members know that I attended the LGA Fire Diversity and Inclusion Champions Network meeting back in July. The agenda was very much centred around positive action, and we had a presentation from Nicola Green, who is a specialist in employment law and works with the Asian Fire Service Association. Nicola, she went through a series of examples of potential positive actions and positive discriminations and the Equality Act, specifically really looking at section 159 and 158. I have had all the presentation and the notes from the meeting sent to each member, so hopefully you'll get a chance to read those through, but that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Ros. Jonathan Glenn, Councillor Glenn.
I know that I think David Simpson had his hand up before me.
Oh, it's not coming up on my screen.
Yeah, okay, right. Well, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
I'd like to thank Councillor Chad for sending the information on the inclusion. I just wanted to confirm that tomorrow at 2 o'clock I will be attending the LGA virtual event on difference and inclusion, building a how-to toolkit. I think it'll be a very interesting seminar. That's at 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Right, thank you for that. So returning to Councillor Simpson, I'm sorry, David, that I missed you out there.
That's okay, because Mr. Chairman, I'm just concerned that you said you gave apologies for the council meeting on Friday. I've got it down as Thursday.
No, I said apologies for a council meeting.
Okay.
It's the pension panel. The Hampshire County Council full meeting is on Thursday. It's pension panel on Friday morning, and I'm apologies for that. Okay, thank you. So, Councillor Mintoff.
Thank you, Chairman. Just an update. We've got a new group commander for Southampton, who I will be meeting this coming Friday. That's my update.
Right, thank you. Can we announce who that is?
It's Stu on the line. It'd be useful for Stu. Any updates in district commanders may be useful. Stu, can you do that?
Yeah, of course. Morning, morning, councillors. So we've had a slight shuffle around with some of our groups. So we did have groups that contained different sizes of groups, all aligned to local authority boundaries, some multiple boundaries. But what I can confirm at the moment is that we've got now a new group which covers Southampton and New Forest as that group, and that is Ben Allen. That cover there. Eastleigh, Fareham and Gosport is an existing group, and Greg Garrett is the new group commander for group manager for that area. Portsmouth and East Hants and Havant are joining together to give that balance of both on-call and hold time to that the east of the county. And Steve Ash is moving to there to be the group manager. In the north of the county will remain the same, and Ryan Thurman will continue with that role. And then Winchester and Test Valley will remain the same, and Paul Riddell will continue in that role as the group manager there. Happy to take any questions on that.
So any changes on the Isle of Wight?
My apologies. So the Isle of Wight will continue with Jeff Walls as the permanent appointment to the Isle of Wight. So as we move to the combined authority, we will have those 6 groups collectively working together.
Fine. Thank you, Stu. Roger.
Stu, when do these appointments take place from?
So the appointments panel was early in the summer, so it was put back a little bit because of the COVID delay. So we went through a national appointments process, That got then shortlisted down to a number of people. I forget the actual number, but somewhere around 8 candidates that were successful. And then most of the vacancies have now been appointed to, and we'll retain a couple of people left on our talent pool register for any future vacancies. So it's really good for us because some good new faces that have come through, and it helps to move us on with our middle management cadre.
Stu, what I was really interested in finding out, that okay, you've gone through all the recruitment process, but when do they actually start in place? I mean, obviously, my interest is the Eastleigh Fareham Gosport one.
So they started at various different times, depending on the location of the person that was doing the role before and the retirement and vacancy. So for Eastleigh Fareham and Gosport, you have Greg Garrett. He started in role, so he's moved from a secondment from our network fire control partnership, and he's started. So I'll contact Greg and have a discussion with him about making an introduction to yourself, and I'll do that around the county for various different members.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was muted there. Thank you for that, Stu. What you just said regard to Greg Garrett, of course, applies to myself also, coming from Gosport. Right, that was a very useful update there, which actually came in under member developments. Anybody got anything else that they wish to add, or anything that they've attended, or anything that they've done that will be useful for us to know about? No? Right, well, thank you for that. So moving on to the... Oh, I've got somebody... Oh, Councillor Chad, yes?
Sorry, right. Chairman. I just want to express my thanks to the education team at Hampshire Fire and Rescue for all their work they're doing, either within schools or remotely at the moment. I think how they've adapted to, as a department, to life with COVID has been fantastic, and it's great to see that the schools are, getting that service and have, and children are learning about fire safety in that way. So I just want to express my thanks to them.
Well, thank you for raising that. That is good to hear. It just demonstrates the value that we bring to the authority from our respective authorities, and the roles that we have within them. Because you, Councillor Chad, with the executive position for education at Hampshire, have a direct interest and awareness of what the fire service are doing. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Can we make sure that's recorded in the minutes?
Yeah, and Stu can take it back to the team.
Yes, I think we should get that recorded. Right. Moving on then to the main items on the agenda. Page 7 on your agenda, agenda item 7, Health and Safety Annual Report, April 2019 to March 2020. Who's presenting this report?
Steve Apter.
Oh, Steve Apter. Are you there, Steve?
I am. Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, members. Can you hear me okay, Chris?
Yes, I can.
Thanks very much. Yes, so just by way of brief introduction to the paper, there's 2 points to raise with the paper. So this is the traditional annual report, health and safety report, which also has the annual statement of intent signed on behalf of the authority by yourself, Chris, and Neil as the chief. I think there's 2 points to raise, really. One is this is a reflective look from last year, 1920, so up until the end of March, early on this year, which when we consider what's happened since March, it seems a lifetime ago. And that in developing the report with the team, plus some of the ongoing reporting and the developments in performance reporting that you've seen from Shantha and her team, with the Power BI dashboards and with the more timely reporting information. This will give a reflective look back, a bit of a lean into what we've been dealing with through the summer, but sets out a recommendation for authority members to consider, which is to cease this type of reporting because of its reduced value that it adds now in light of what I've just said. So by all means, the information shows a positive picture in terms of our continuous improvement in health and safety. But I think in terms of adding more value in reporting going forward, the recommendation, Chairman, is that we will cease producing this annual report. We'll still need legally to produce the annual statement of intent, and we'll be bringing that back in time, ready for the new combined authority, so it's legally compliant from the 1st of April next year. But the reporting and the information members will receive going forward will be far more timely, far more relevant, and we can react to in real time. So that's it from me, Chairman. Happy to take questions.
Thank you. Got a question from Councillor Simpson.
Thanks. Steve, on page 33, on the table on safety events, it mentions in fact underneath the table on paragraph 39, it says a third of reported injuries are training. That means 2/3 are not in training. What are we doing within training to make sure those 2/3 are reduced? Because clearly there's a training problem there.
I think what it highlights, and I take on board the point, Councillor Simpson, I think it's the age-old adage, we make training as realistic as we possibly and safely can, and we don't apologise for that. I think what we have introduced, remembering this was related to last year, it did highlight particularly some manual handling issues which were addressed by the health and safety team working with the academy last year. So once we've got the comparable figures for this year, so I'm content we've been more proactive. So I think it does highlight the environment in training, which has realistic training, realistic fire training as well. But it's obviously one we are constantly monitoring and keeping on top of. And as a result of the question, Councillor Simpson, I will do further analysis to seek some assurance back.
Yes, thank you for that, Steve, because it seems to me the figures should be the other way round. 2/3 in training, where you've got new people going in, fresh recruits, etc., would make mistakes, and only 1/3 should be out on operation. But thank you for any further analysis.
Thank you. Councillor Price, please, your question.
Thank you, Chris. My question is to do with the kit that the firefighters wear. Is that one of the issues that's been raised in the past is about that the smoke which gets into it, and therefore when they get back into the cabs of the fire appliances to go back to the station, they're contaminating the actual fire appliance. And I know that in Sweden they actually put all their kit into a bag before getting into the appliance, so that the appliance isn't contaminated. There's nothing in this report to say that we're further investigating this or looking at it in any way. And to me, is because of the repercussions which it can have further down the line of ill health, etc., is that I just wonder what actually is happening and whether it should be in here.
Thank you, Roger. It's a really, really pertinent question. I think I can give some reassurance, and actually it highlights the issue that there's a lot happened over recent months. One of the constraints for me is this report purely reports on data from previous year. So a number of things. If we look longer term around the contaminants issue, and it is a big, a growing issue. One is when we look at our station investment program, our station design principles, designing out the risk of cross-contamination is designed into that design principles. So we've taken a longer term view of that. In terms of the here and now, a number of stations we already have, and I'm sure Stu will be able to give some details here, some remedial action we've taken to be able to prevent that cross-contamination of kit. It is an ongoing issue, and it's one that's been highlighted particularly by the Fire Brigade Union and other rep bodies. So as a service, we are actively working with the rep bodies on this issue. One, in terms of research, so that we don't just refer to anecdotal information. We're looking at empirical research, scientific research, and there are two major national studies going on, long-term health studies going on, one with the University of Brighton, which is supported by the Fire Brigade Union and ourselves, and we are supporting that and helping in that. So I think across the piece, we've got a tactical solution we're trying to resolve in the short term. We've got a longer term solution in terms of designing out the issue and then supporting the scientific research on which we'll make decisions in terms of activities, for example, learning from other countries. But there is a great deal of activity going on across the Hampshire and the Isle of Wight and the UK currently, Roger. And it's a really, really pertinent question, a really topical one as well.
Thank you very much, Steve. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Any other members' comments or questions, please? No. Well, can I then take you to recommendations, page 16, which I will read to you. 53, that this report be noted by Hampshire Fire and Rescue Authority. Number 54, that the authorities support cessation of the production of an annual health and safety report owing to the introduction of greater health and safety data into the revised mid-year and end-of-year performance reports into the authority, which enable more timely and relevant reporting. Members, are you all content with those recommendations?
Agreed.
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 You all agree? They can hear me, can they?
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, because I seem to be muted up there. Right, so we've moved those recommendations at agenda item 7. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 8. This is the minutes of the Standards and Governance Committee held on the 23rd of July this year. May I invite the Vice Chairman, Councillor Mintoff, to present these minutes. Sharon, are you with me? Are you happy to do that?
Yes. I was already prepared for that.
Oh, good. Well
I'd like to present the minutes of the Standards and Governance meeting held on the 23rd of July, particularly drawing to your attention on page 24 of our pack, item 113, that we have now approved the closure of the HMICFRS action plan. I'm happy to take any questions.
Right. Thank you, Sharon. Yes, you quite rightly point out the closure of the action plan, and I think we want to say well done to Shantha and her team for achieving that. But of course, we start again with another inspection very soon. So, members, you're happy to accept those standards governance minutes. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. So now we move on to item 9, exclusion of the press and public. So I will read the relevant paragraph here. We're now closing the meeting to the public as the following reports are of a confidential nature, and there is a requirement not to disclose information in the following reports. Information discussed, particularly in relation to external parties, is of a sensitive nature. Discussions, negotiation, proprietary information or business affairs, plans, intentions, and or technical information, designs, or trade secrets. So, are we able to confirm that we've ceased the webcast?
Chairman, I formally propose that.
Agreed.
Thank you.